Hello, welcome back. My name's Zach, and I'm the New York City coding and tech tutor. And this is the fourth video in the video series on how to make a iOS, Android, and web app using JavaScript, or specifically using React and Ionic. So in this video, we are getting so close to actually beginning to code our app. There are just a few more little, not so little actually, important changes that we need to make in our um, initial React and Ionic code that's been provided to us. So here again is the code, and if you haven't already, you need to open up your tsconfig.json and change the strict to false. I explained why we need to do that in an earlier video, so if you haven't done that yet, please do that. And basically, again, that's just going to let us use JavaScript instead of having to abide by all the rules of TypeScript. There are a few like small things that we're going to have to do also to get around all the rules of TypeScript, but you'll see those in a moment. Okay, so once you've done that, you need to take a look at some of these files here. So let's see what we have here. We have a CSS file, we have an app file, we have another CSS file that goes with the home page, we have another CSS file which goes with this explore page, and we just need to clean this up a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make a pretty big change here. If you look at this code, this is written in a style of React, which is a newer style of React. And it is not the style that most people who have been using React for the last, 5 or whatever years. It is not the style that most people use. This is called, when you see, when it doesn't say class here, it means that we're using hooks for React. And hooks are basically like it turns all of our React components into functions rather than classes. And I personally much prefer the traditional way of doing React. Ionic, for some reason, wants to push this new way of doing React on us right from the beginning. But if you look at the React, if you just go to the React homepage and you look at like the tutorial, you'll see that like even the actual React website is teaching people to get started using the class way of writing React, not the functional way or the hooks way, as they call it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to just make a few changes and make sure that our React code is using the kind of React code that the React tutorial teaches, and also the kind of React code that you're going to find much more on the internet. So if you get stuck and you search for something on how to do something in React, you're going to find more examples of the class-based version of React than the hooks-based version of React. Okay, so how do we change this to a class-based version of React? Copy this. This is a shopping list component, but I can still use it. You can see it's different in some ways from the way that a hook component is structured. It has a return statement inside of a render method, and the render method is inside of a class, and the class is whatever the name of the component is. So this component is app, which is like my most like my highest level component. And I've got my render method there. I need to close off. I need to close off the class. I need to have a return statement in there. It'll just return a plain div. And I've got another problem here. I don't need this React anymore because all I need is the word component. I do need something up here. I do need to make sure that React knows what what component means. So at the top here, I need to import import component from React. So that fixes that. I can then take, instead of these two divs, I'll just take all of this and replace it. All right. And then I can get rid of this. And now it's doing exactly the same thing, but it's doing it in a syntax that is more widely used in the React community right now. And basically what this is saying is that when I load the app, I want to load Ion's container for the app. Now it's important that we have some Ion stuff here at this top level because that's what converts everything to iOS or Android friendly code later on. But yeah, I've got the Ion app. I've got a router here, which is going to basically let me go to the different pages of my app, or route my traffic into different locations on the app. This is just related to the router. This is telling me that if I go to the /home route, that to load the home component inside of my app component. If I go to just a plain, like a no route, like just a slash, then also go redirect also to the home route, which means go here and then also load the home page. And those are my only two routes right now. Really, I just have one route. I have my home route. You can get rid of this second part if you want, this redirect, and you don't actually need it. But I'll leave it for now. Okay, so I fixed up the app component. I need to do the same thing to my home component. So I'm going to go to, now home is considered a page, right? Because this was like the big container component, but home is an actual like subcomponent, so it's listed under pages. So I'm going to go to there. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I just want to take the syntax from the React tutorial, and I want to use it as a base. So I'm going to get rid of this React. I'm going to close that, put a return statement in there. Make sure that I have up on the top, make sure that I've imported, it said import curly brackets component from React. I need to make sure that's typed up there so that it knows what this is. Then I'm just going to take all of this, put it in the return statement. Okay. Get rid of this and make sure this says home. All right, this says home, this says home, this says home, this says home. The name of the component is home. If I do my short key to clean it up, Alt-Shift-F, cleans it up a little bit. And if I just click back on here, there you go. So I just clicked back on my Ionic serve, what was being served over here. And you can see it's still looking the same, even with this different way that I've typed it out. It should still work, even after I change it from class-based from hook-based to class-based. All right, there are a couple more changes I want to make sure that we don't get any problems with TypeScript. I want to add right here, I want to add any. What does this mean? This means that anytime I pass like information to this component, or what are called props to this component, it's not going to force me to have to say specifically what type of props they are. So this is like a way of getting around TypeScript. So I'm adding that there. Okay, so I'm also going to get rid of some of this stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to get into advanced Ionic styling, so I'm just going to completely get rid of this Ion header here. I'm going to keep Ion content because that's important. I'm going to get rid of the header here. I'm also going to get rid of this component here. So literally all I have here is Ion page and Ion content, and I can type just like maybe just like a word in here like test. I can get rid of Ion. I can get rid of some Ion stuff up here because I got rid of it down there. I don't need to import anything other than Ion content and Ion page. I can get rid of this explore content because I don't need that component anymore. I can get rid of explore container here and here. I don't want to have separate CSS files for all of my pages. I just want to have all of my stylings be in one CSS file. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to rename this. I'll rename this all. Make it lowercase. I'll rename this all. And then here on my home component, I need to put an all there. And so that all of my stylings will just go in this all.css file. All right, and then also there's another CSS file that is kind of like just for very specific Ionic stuff. I will keep almost all of the. I'm only going to keep the top of this file. I want to delete all of starting from right here. So I'm only keeping the root stylings. I'm getting rid of all this other stuff because all of this stuff is for dark mode. You know how phones and computers now have dark mode. I just don't want to have to deal with that right now. So you can either comment all of this out or delete it. I'm just going to delete it. You might want to comment it out if you think you're going to eventually be dealing with dark mode. Okay, and so if I go to my Ionic served page, it looks like it has been very cleaned up. You could put a div here on your home page. And you could write the styles right in here if you want. Maybe padding 16 pixels. And that looks pretty good. There are a couple more changes that I want, a couple more minor styling things that I want to add. I want to, in this div here, I'm just putting it right in the HTML. I'm not putting it in a separate in the CSS file, in the all.css file. You could if you want. I'm just choosing not to at this point. But I want to add all of these. I already had the padding, so I'm going to add a background color light blue, a little bit of a margin, the font color black, some curved edges, and a larger font size. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so that's going to be more readable. I find that 16-point font pretty much looks good on everything. It looks, it's readable on just about everything. So and I tend to like slightly larger fonts than most people because I want to make it easier for them to read. So I did 16-point fonts. Now then you'll notice background color changed the background color of the div, but what if I want to change the background color of like the entire app, like the most background color of the app? Well, it's not as easy as just taking as just writing a style for Ion content, because Ion content follows some of Ion's more opinionated rules for styling. And so to change the Ion content, and by the way, I don't think you need this full screen here. I'm not sure. I'm going to delete it. I'll bring it back if it's causing problems later, but I don't think you need it. So in order to change the background color of Ion content, I have to go to this special variables CSS, which I'm going to try to not use too much. This is if you want to really follow all of Ion's rules, you would use the CSS file more often. But I want to change this primary color here to maybe like a darker blue. So I'm calling these are all the primary colors. These are all the secondary colors that Ionic considers secondary colors, tertiary colors. I'm just going to change this most regular primary color. I want to make it let's make it a like kind of a dark kind of like that kind of blue. I've changed that. And then Ion content takes a prop called color. A lot of Ion components take special props. So this takes a special prop called color. If I were to try to just enter style directly into Ion content, I might start having problems. And the color that it's going to take is it's going to take primary, which is it knows what primary means because it knows what it knows about this variables.css file. So if I look at that now here, you'll see that it changed the background color of the entire app. I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to come back to in a little bit some of like the ways that we're going to work with Ionic, like work with Ionic colorings and stylings, and how at times we're going to like kind of push back on Ionic's opinions about how to style things. Because I think you learn more sometimes by pushing back against a framework than you do by just like going along with everything that the framework wants you to do. So we're going to learn about more in the next video where we start actually building our homepage, our sign up. We're going to make a sign up page and a sign in right on the homepage right here. So stay tuned. See you soon.